Brandon,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that might have been the single best weekend of NFL football I have ever seen. We had crazy comebacks. Every prime time was fantastic. And on top of that, the 1972 Miami Dolphins can pop the champagne because there are 0 undefeated teams left, thanks to the New England Patriots, who went into Buffalo and beat the Buffalo Bills 23-20. And what was that other team? Oh yeah, the Denver Broncos, who came into Lincoln Financial Field and beat your Philadelphia Eagles. But here's my thing. Why is it that ever since that game, all the national media has been talking about is what's wrong with the Eagles? Are they having offensive issues? All this and that. I haven't heard a lot of people giving the Denver Broncos credit. Like, Philadelphia is not an easy place to go into and win. The Eagles are one of the most dominant teams in the NFL over the last couple years. They've been in 2 Super Bowls to show for it, having won 1. Why is it that everybody's like, what's wrong with Jalen Hurts? Why can't he and A.J. Brown get on the same page? All this and that. Why isn't anybody giving Denver their credit?
I think it was mostly because of the flow of the game, and I know you were probably a little bit disappointed that you had to work the Cavs preseason game on Tuesday, that we couldn't do a show on Tuesday, because it would be a little bit more fresh, and you could read me even more so that my Philadelphia Eagles are no longer undefeated. But, my takeaway from this game was, yeah, Jalen says, got my wisdom teeth today, boys. Best form of entertainment is on now. Love the comment, Jalen. Thank you very much. I think, Josh, to your point, it was the fact that through 3 quarters, the Eagles were, I don't want to say dominating the game because it was only 17-3, but as a fan, it felt over. This was a game the Eagles typically don't lose, where it's like, oh yeah, Denver's got 3 points. Bo Nix has missed a couple throws that could have went for touchdowns. He doesn't have it today. And no matter if our offense is struggling in the second half or not, we're just going to cruise to victory. And then, to your point, they go back-to-back touchdown drives. Sean Payton ends up going for 2, which I couldn't believe he did it at the time, and I still can't believe he did it now.
Wait a minute. This is the same coach who came out in the second half of a Super Bowl and did the onside kick. And you're telling me you couldn't believe he went for 2?
Not in that spot when you're on the road. If it was to completely win the game outright, like if there was no time on the clock, absolutely, I think you do it. Now with, 8 or 9 minutes left in the football game, no, I did not think he was going to go for 2. I thought maybe he was going to try to get him off sides and maybe you move to the 1-yard line and then go for 2. I didn't expect him to run the play, and neither did Romo, by the way, who couldn't believe the play call. It was a perfectly executed play. And from that moment on, Denver had control of the game, yet arguably it came down to the Broncos defense making a play or a not play on 2 controversial-esque calls late in the game that both went Denver's way. And I'm not saying that's why the Eagles lost the game, but what I am saying is that's what it takes to beat these Eagles teams. Is the Eagles have to self-inflict themselves. They have to commit bad penalties. They have to go 3 and out and have their offensive drives, because it's really hard to beat a team with that much talent.
And they had to only give Saquon Barkley 6 carries?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because everybody is saying, how can you not give Saquon Barkley 6 carries? Well, I'll tell you how, Josh, because I think this is the most underlying stat of the entire 2025 NFL season. Do you want to guess what the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is ranked this season by Pro Football Focus?
Probably like 24th.
They're ranked 15th. So an offensive line that was dominant last season, throughout the whole season, is now middle of the pack. And teams are rotating safeties late very early on in the game, right? Denver played a lot of man coverage. Jalen Hurts was able to get the ball to Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith. Later in the game, Vance Joseph did a change-up to where they would show a man look, post snap, they would drop into zone coverage, and it would lead to a lot of confusion in the run game and the pass game. They're not giving Saquon Barkley the ball because every first down they try to run the football. Saquon is getting tackled in the backfield. It's 2nd and 14, and now you have to throw the ball.
Yeah, the Eagles have to be. I said this last week when they were still undefeated. For me, they are one of, if not the most confusing and confounding teams this season, because like they haven't been able to put together a complete game yet. They've been able to have these great halves, like the second half against the Rams. I would say the first half against the Buccaneers, not so much the second half.
I would even say the first half against Dallas, right? They go flawless. They go 3 for 3 in touchdowns before the lightning delay.
Okay, that's fair. But like, we criticize them for throwing the ball too much. And then they run the ball to oblivion, and you got everything with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And then this time, they throw the ball too much, and all the
and you're criticized for them not giving Saquon Barkley. So again, I get it. This is what Kevin Patullo is going to have to go to. Now, as I keep stressing, I know it's not the same, but last year, this team did not take off until when? Week 7 on the road at the New York Giants. Who do they play tonight? Week 6, short week, Thursday Night Football. There's a lot of drama out there with this football team from the reports that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley had a 2-hour meeting on Monday.
I think Jalen was part of that also.
And Jalen Hurts as well. So, we'll see. I do expect my team to come out and win the game tonight. I hope we win by more than a touchdown. I hope this game is not down in the fourth quarter, because one of the things about having Jalen Hurts on this team, I don't think the noise bothers Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's affected by it. And I don't see a 2023-esque collapse yet because of one reason. It's not even because of the offense. It's because I do believe that with Vic Fangio being the coordinator on the defense, they're not going to be as bad as they were 2 years ago when they could not stop a nosebleed during that historic natural funk collapse.
But again, to go back to Denver, yes, Bo Nix is not as consistent as we'd like him to be, but like he made that throw to Cortland Sutton late in the game when he absolutely
and Sutton, Moss Quinyon Mitchell, and he was out of his mind. Here's the one thing about Denver. Do you know what Sean Payton did when the game ended?
He threw like a whole rager.
They took the bus that the team was on, and they were playing Meek Mill, who's a famous rap artist, obviously. He's done a lot of songs for the Eagles, and they were blasting it while they were driving down Lincoln Financial Field. That's why people aren't talking about Denver, because they're talking about that, because Sean Payton is trying to make a statement win. And all of a sudden, Denver went from, could they be third in the division? Chargers are 3-0. Denver's 0-1 in the division, to the Chargers lose 2 in a row. Kansas City lost. Denver won, and guess who's tied for first place in the division?
I told you Denver was going to win this division. I predicted it.
And you did. And a couple of weeks ago, I didn't think there was a chance. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, here they are tied for first place.
I know. This is Denver. Like, Nick Bonito put on a fantastic performance. He is going to quickly become a household name with the way he's playing defensively. I would like them to have somebody opposite Cortland Sutton. I like Marvin Mims, but I wouldn't say he's the 1B to Cortland Sutton's 1A, because it does seem like Cortland Sutton has emerged as the 1A that the Broncos have been waiting for. So that is a flaw.
And Evan Ingram also scored a touchdown, and they're getting Dobbins and RJ Harvey back in the fold.
Yes. And their schedule is not that difficult coming up.
Well, I will say with this weekend, I am picking them to beat the Jets, but be careful with this game. It's a London game, and we know weird things happen in London.
Yeah, like they've got the Jets this week, then they host the Giants, then they host the Cowboys. That could be a really good game. They're at the Texans, and then they host the Raiders before hosting the Chiefs. That's not.
That's easily. I'm not saying they're going to go 5-0, but 4-1 is on the table.
Yeah, and I think their bye week is after that Chiefs game and prior to their trip to the nation's capital to play the Commanders.